I think this is the third thing that has me in a better mood. I would just like to do my victory lap on this podcast and say, I was right. I told you all along the whiteout was going to be on Peacock. Now, was it a complete guess? Yes, it was an absolute complete guess, but I just was a gut feeling, and sometimes you have a gut feeling, and you need to share it on your podcast. And I was right, and nobody listened to me, and I wrote a whole thing about it. Nobody listened to me, and then boom, guess what happens? It's on Peacock. I'm already a little anxious about the conversations that we're going to have to be having with certain people that probably listen to this podcast on how to make sure that they know how to use Peacock, because I wasn't at Beaver Stadium the last time the game was on
That's
Peacock.
Right, it was Delaware.
It was Delaware. So that's going to be a thing. I think it's exactly what I laid out like in the volleyball article. I think they're going to leverage the audience that's watching the volleyball match into new subs in the Pennsylvania area region, because Comcast is growing in the center part of the state that's coming into Blair County. I think that's something that goes into this. And then I think the other thing is they're going to try to get Washington people already in. Although this is the second Washington game that has been on Peacock. They played Washington State on Peacock as well. So I don't, but I also like, I don't have an issue with the whiteout being on Peacock, because I think it's like actually a creative. I think putting my sports media hat on, putting my Penn State fan hat on aside, it's actually like a creative idea. Like I think it's a unique thing of like, we're gonna put this kind of sort of premiere-ish thing, or people that somewhat pay attention to, because we know that the opponent is actually what drives the ratings and not necessarily the whiteout experience. We're gonna still try to drive some subs with that, and I think that's pretty interesting. So that's where I'm kind of at with it. But yeah, I just wanted to do my little victory lap.
Do your lap. It's a well-deserved. Good guess. Good job. And yeah, like I don't. I'm sure some older fans will be like, where am I going to find this? What's going on? Or maybe they'll listen to Steve and Jack or whatever else. But it's not. Again, like you said, it's the matchup that drives the viewership. Be some great visuals for NBC and Peacock now to have in their repertoire of content they own, right, and that they shot themselves and can use for it. And yeah, I'm just glad I don't have to be in there for an 8:00 start, which I believe is the latest start this late in November for them.
Yes.
So at least it was from our spreadsheet as far as I was going back. I guess the latest home game start in November in the past 20 years at least. So
well, let's get to that in a second. I think the other interesting thing, so if you rewind way back to the summer when Pat Kraft was talking about the whiteout and why they picked that, he like kind of alluded to a creative solution, and I think this was the plan all along for this game to be on Peacock. And maybe they 6-day windowed it for this IMAX reason, so that like it didn't leak that way or something. Mm-hmm. But I think the IMAX thing is pretty interesting. I don't know that I would necessarily do it, but we are looking for somebody to go to an IMAX theater and then come on this podcast, and we may have found somebody to do that. But if you're interested, I will cover the cost of one person's ticket to go watch the game in IMAX.
So if you take a date, it's like buy one get one free.
Yeah, so think of it that way. But I like there's that place down in, I think it's either Dallas or Austin, that they've been showing like college football games, but then they've also been showing like Premier League soccer games, that it's basically like you're at the stadium, but you're not at the stadium. I think this is going to just be the traditional game broadcast. But I think, like, again, I appreciate, kudos to the Big Ten, kudos to NBC for being creative, trying a new solution. I don't know if it fixes a problem per se, but it's a neat solution, you know?
Well, and honestly, I'll be interested to see the broadcast on Peacock and what shots are there, right? Like, I don't know if it'll be totally the traditional or if it is the traditional broadcast, are they going to give us some bigger shots, some different shots, just because they're thinking about how it's going to play in the IMAX?
Yeah. Or like, is there an alternate feed? Like, is there an IMAX feed? I think it's, right. I think that's something interesting to think about.